Hi, this is Newt. You can't have a balanced portfolio if gold and silver aren't a part of it. Gold has broken several record highs this year as investors are looking for a safe haven. Legacy Precious Metals is the company I invest with, and you should give them a call and see if a gold investment is right for you. Legacy Precious Metals also created the official Contract with America silver coin that commemorates our historic house victory in 1994. It's 1 ounce of pure silver and a piece of American history. Supplies are limited, and this commemorative coin will sell out. You can buy this exclusive coin by visiting legacypminvestments.com, and you can also add the Contract with America coin to your IRA. Call Legacy today to speak with an advisor at 866-484-4043 or visit Legacy online at legacypminvestments.com. Tell them I sent you, and they'll send you a free Contract with America coin on all qualified IRA rollovers. On this episode of Newt's World, we're going to discuss the recent shakeup in the presidential election and the state of the economy, which still remains the top issue on voters' minds across the United States. So I'm really pleased to welcome back my guest, Charles Thorngren, founder and CEO of Legacy Precious Metals. Charles, welcome and thank you for joining me again on Newt's World. It's always educational and a pleasure to talk with you. And boy, with all the different things going on, we have a lot to talk about. So the last couple months have been sort of a wild roller coaster that no one could have predicted. Biden's disastrous debate, the assassination attempt on President Trump, Biden's last-minute decision to drop out of the race. Now we have Vice President Harris as the presumptive nominee for the Democrats. Let's just start by talking about the craziness of the 2024 election cycle. What kind of hits you, Charles?
Thank you for having me again. And it's interesting, and this is a little out of my normal conversation. I mainly focus on econ, but you and I wouldn't tell you that econ runs separate than the political world. So when I see everything that's happening, it just really reinforces to me just how divided this country is on simple things. It's a scenario to where any assassination attempt, regardless of who it is wrong. But to have someone be shot at while running for the office, that's a scary thing for me. That to me, and the investigation will shake out a lot of things, I'm sure. One of the first things is we realize that you have to hire people in those positions based on their merits, not on an agenda. That's the first and foremost thing we want to look at and say, okay, your qualifications matter. That's something that I think we need to get back to as a nation. Quit worrying about quotas and DEIs and things, and let's hire people right for the job. The fact that President Trump wasn't assassinated and was just an attempt is a difference of an inch. And the fact that it was something that was pointed out ahead of time really magnifies to me the importance, again, of doing things because they're right and doing things and hiring people because they are right. Let's focus again on the qualities that matter. Let's make sure the people are qualified to do what they're hired to do. And that's just in this one situation. We're talking about, the director of the Secret Service. But we have many examples of that. The entire fiasco of what we've seen this year, it just really brings that even further in mind. And for me, it impresses upon me and those that I know, we need leadership that matters again. We need to get back to that. We've had this farce of qualification in all aspects of government recently that really needs to be brought out and fixed. We have a vice president who's being almost to some degree given the title shot, given the opportunity to run for president. And to be honest with you, Newt, if I were a Democrat, I would be upset that I didn't have a choice in that decision, that it wasn't done in a manner like every other convention where we had the most qualified people standing up and saying, I'm auditioning for this job. Here's what I stand for. Here's what I believe in. Here's why you should bring me as the leader of your political party to the office. And we're missing that. And that's a scary trend for me. That's a scary situation. It kind of goes against what we do here in America by voting.
I've been surprised the number of people who've said it's just not right. Patrick Basham did a survey at the Democracy Institute, and 60% of the country said that the way Biden was forced out was undemocratic. And about the same percent said that the way that Kamala Harris was forced on the ticket was also undemocratic. So there's a pretty big block of the country that agrees with you. When I watched the debate between Trump and Biden, I sort of went in thinking, if Biden made 2 or 3 mistakes, from Trump's perspective, that would be a good night. And starting with that very first answer, my jaw kind of dropped open because it had never occurred to me that Biden would be as weak and as confused as he was that night. And it goes back to your point just about sheer competence, that whether you like him or you don't like him, when you have somebody at that level who can't function, it's a little scary.
Definitely is. And I think it really does bring to mind the fact that we need change. And I don't mean just in this election. We need to really change the way we think about the way America should be run, the way America should hold itself, the way we should hold the respect for people in office in mind as well. Because if we were truly respectful of President Biden, we would have said, there's issues. His campaign should have been addressing that long ago. And we as the American people should have known long ago things weren't as good as we were told. I think that's an important part of the process.
How much does that lead you to think about sort of a flight to safety in investing terms, just because you're looking at a level of political and governmental turbulence that's really very unusual for the U.S.?
And we are in an unusual time. If you look at the events over the past decade, America's had some struggle, right? We had a pandemic. 2.7 million people lost their jobs for safety. And then we had a government take over that the solution was to spend more money, not address the real issues, get involved in things that didn't matter, no economic principle forethought, the amount of debt we have now. So when you look at that and say, what does politics mean? What does this uncertainty mean for the economy? It's everything. And the economy is why we invest. If everything were perfect, we wouldn't need investments. We'd be able to just save money as people and make sure that we saved enough to retire on. But that's not the way economies work. That's not the way government works. You need to create an economy so that government can collect taxes and that you hope they spend those monies correctly so that the country grows and that you grow and your investments can grow so that you can be afforded that safety that you want for retirement and for just everyday living. So when we look now, I think it's more important now than ever to make sure that we fix a scenario within government, within the economy, within businesses, but also more importantly, with the way we invest and save. That to me is the one thing we have complete control of. It's the way we invest and the way we save. That's the one thing that we can do no matter who's in office. So it draws to me the fact that it's the most important thing that we can do for ourselves is to make sure that we manage that correctly.
The next Federal Reserve Board meeting is going to be July 30th and 31st. What does your gut tell you? What do you think is going to happen then?
There's 2 trains of thought. My thought, as a person who is not in thinking of it on the political side, is we still have inflation. Now, the board's job is to maintain a controllable inflation. That's their first job. The second job is to keep the economy strong. We've done neither. The Federal Reserve has done neither. This past 4 years has been a debacle. Is it all their fault? No. We did have a pandemic. We did have this emergency situation that happened here in the United States. But that's done. It should have been fixed by now. If you're speaking on a true economic principle, inflation's still too high. The key to that is to raise rates. But we don't have the political stomach to do that right now. So I think rate cuts are coming. It's just a matter of when. And the issue with that is you create an opportunity for inflation to run away, on top of the fact that we have a recession coming. We see that in the GDP numbers, and you see that in business. For the first time in 25 years now, I believe, McDonald's does not have the growth that it's used to. Something as recognizable as McDonald's, it doesn't have growth. And that's just one company of many that are out there. It's probably one of those names that everyone knows of. Everyone's familiar with McDonald's. And they're not in a good situation. They don't have growth year over year. So they're hurting. But this is systemic. And this is why this recession that comes now is so important. We have high interest rates. So it makes it hard for companies and for businesses to refinance things. It makes it harder for them to go out and build and create growth because the cost of money is too expensive. But we're fighting that same principle with the fact that we have high inflation. So it's a dilemma.
Hi, this is Newt. You can't have a balanced portfolio if gold and silver aren't a part of it. Gold has broken several record highs this year as investors are looking for a safe haven. Legacy Precious Metals is the company I invest with, and you should give them a call and see if a gold investment is right for you. Legacy Precious Metals also created the official Contract with America silver coin that commemorates our historic house victory in 1994. It's 1 ounce of pure silver and a piece of American history. Supplies are limited, and this commemorative coin will sell out. You can buy this exclusive coin by visiting LegacyPMInvestments.com, and you can also add the Contract with America coin to your IRA. Call Legacy today to speak with an advisor at 866-484-4043 or visit Legacy online at LegacyPMInvestments.com. Tell them I sent you, and they'll send you a free Contract with America coin on all qualified IRA rollovers. I noticed, though, that the Fed in the 2022-2023 period increased rates 11 times, but then from July 23 on, they've stopped it. They've held them steady at around 5.25 or 5.5%. Do you think they're more afraid of triggering a recession? The inflation is still well above the 2% goal. I'm curious why you think they have not done anything since July of 2023.
I believe is that they did not want to be the Fed that raised rates 14 times, not just 11 times. We've talked about it in the past, and we should have raised rates. The Fed had an opportunity to really stamp down inflation and to bring it back into its own guidelines in 2023. They didn't have the courage, whether it was overcautiousness or we do need to add this to the mix, whether it was political in nature, where they're being pressured to not raise again because everyone was complaining about the cost of money and businesses were beginning to say, this will generate a recession. We're feeling the effect of it. We can't get the growth that we want because we can't afford the money at this point. So you have a scenario where the Fed had the ability, I believe, to really take inflation down and get it under control and meet its guidelines. It just would have caused a little bit more pain. But they chose to not do that. So now we will feel that pain on both sides for a much longer period of time. You have to have courage to take that kind of maneuver. And we don't see that kind of courage in politics nowadays in most people.
You're in a situation where a lot of the so-called economic growth is amazing. I think the governor of New York just said that virtually all of their recent economic growth is actually theft from Medicaid. Not Medicaid, theft from Medicaid. And you see these things around the country where government has been a much bigger part of job growth, for example, than I think any time outside of wartime. I'm very curious in that sense. When you look out over the next 6 months or a year, are you confident in the economy or are you a little bit worried?
I'm very worried. I'm not even just a little worried. There will be a recession. There has to be. We can't float this much money into an economy. We can't talk about raising tax rates on businesses. We can't talk about money costing so much. The ability to generate job growth, the ability to generate economic growth and business growth can't be this expensive. One of the things we don't figure into that calculation, everyone talks about the interest rate. Here's where it's even more important that most people leave out. Your major corporations and entities, they typically have bonds that they issue to cover debt. That's how they create growth, through the bond market, not the equity market, but through the bond market. For them now to take old debt and refund it costs them so much more now that some of them are thinking about retiring the debt and taking cash off the books, because the amount that they have to pay now for that bond is so much more that it doesn't make sense for them to create this kind of debt over the next 10 years. And this is one of the major things that we will begin to see happen as we get closer to the end of the year. So you will see the financing of some major corporations really take a hit.
And in that process, the national debt has grown by a little bit over $7 trillion since Biden took office. We now have this enormous debt, I think somewhere in the $34 trillion range. How much does that weigh down on the economy and provide an inhibitor to economic growth?
There's some damage that we know. The damage that we don't know is the psychological damage of the investor. And not just our investors, but worldwide. When you increase your debt that much and you get to the point where your payment of that debt is 126% of your GDP, that's called bankruptcy. If the United States was a corporation, it would be bankrupt. It would maintain 26% more debt per year than what it produces. That's unsustainable. That's bad money management. And it's not going away because we still have 6 more months. The only thing more dangerous to me than a Democrat is a Democrat that knows there's no repercussion. He's not looking for office again. He can now do anything he desires that he can get away with politically. There's no repercussion to him. So I would imagine we'll see more student loan forgiveness. I would imagine we'll see more money going overseas whenever it's possible under executive orders versus the normal business that we do as a government. And this is the scary part, because the numbers we talk about are as of now, not what's going to be left in 6 months when this damage is perpetuated.
When you see all this and you look down the road at what's sort of a really big split in the road between what a Harris presidency would be like and what a Trump presidency would be like, how do you measure those two from a purely, not political, but from an economic standpoint, looking at the fate of the economy and the fate of inflation and the fate of the value of money?
That's a great question. And I'll tell you, normally I answer as the economic side. I'm going to answer as the political side now. And I'll tell you why I have to do that. If we have a President Harris, I have no way to judge what she will do. There is no business education within her. There is no aspect of knowing how to run a budget. There is no aspect of her anything that deals with the economy. If Kamala Harris wins, we know her background is in criminal and law. Nothing to do with the economy. Nothing to do with running a country. She doesn't even have experience as running a business. She's never even owned her own business. This is a person who was involved in government from the day she graduated college. So when we say, what do we expect with a President Harris? I have a hard time giving you that answer. The only thing that I can assume is more of Joe Biden, because that's her experience. And I've never heard a point where she disagreed with anything that President Biden has said or done. I know the vice president's job isn't to necessarily disagree with the president, but I've never heard any form of wavering, just full support. So I'm left to assume it's more of the same because there's nothing else to judge it on. Now, I look at President Trump, and I'm going to say something too. I expect more of the same from him. I expect to see the same results that we saw the first time he was in office. The only difference being is a time to fix the damage that's been done. And that's going to take some time. If President Trump wins again and takes office, he's not getting the same America that he got in 2016. It's a much different America with a lot more debt and a lot more wars going on and a lot more unrest and a lot of ridiculousness. So I expect him to manage it the way that he has in the past, but with a bigger transition period to get things fixed. So when I look at it from the economy wise, I have to say we're in for a couple of rough years. Now, a couple of rough years as if President Trump wins again. 6 to 7 more rough years if we have a President Harris win. Because I don't see that there's any way or any knowledge from her or experience from her to manage what's the most important thing on people's minds.
Hi, this is Newt. Gold has broken several record highs this year, and Legacy Precious Metals is the company I personally invest with. Together, we created the official Contract with America silver coin that commemorates our historic House victory in 1994. Supplies are limited, and this commemorative coin will sell out. Go to legacypminvestments.com or call them at 866-484-4043 to get yours today. Tell them I sent you, and they'll send you a free Contract with America coin on all qualified IRA rollovers. Where does investing in gold and silver fit into an investment portfolio when the range of futures is as wide open as you just described?
I don't want to overstate this. I know this is what I do, and I talk a lot about gold and silver, but I talk a lot about the economy too. And I will say that I've never seen a time where it was more important for people to be invested in precious metals than right now. And I don't say that lightly. We've talked a lot. You know, I'm not that kind of guy who's going to jump up on a soapbox and scream and shout. Just not what I do. But we have high inflation. We have massive debt. We have a dollar that is on the brink of breaking because of that debt. We have a recession coming. And we have a country divided. There's no more important time than right now. Even if you've never thought about precious metals, it's the time to think about it. And if you have precious metals, it's a time to look at it and say, am I positioned correctly? Because the recession that comes will affect the equities market. And that is the most common form of investment for Americans. There's others out there. There's other alternative assets as well. But the most prevalent is, the equities market. I've never seen a time where the risk was greater than now. If I use the Shiller PE ratio, we're 191% overvalued in the equities market. I have never seen that in my lifetime, ever. I've been through some crashes. It's never been as strong as it is right now. So, folks, even if you don't get precious metals, find a way to protect yourself. All the indications are there. And this is not because of just a bad economy. This is because of bad policy. This is what brings us here. So when people ask me, does their vote count? I tell them this is exactly why every vote counts.
If somebody wants to learn more about legacy precious metals, just as an entry point, they've never done anything at all. There are a number of companies, you see them advertised on TV and on radio. Why should they come to Legacy Precious Metals to start learning about the whole process?
And that's a great question. Why Legacy Precious Metals? Gold and silver should be a part of a diversified investment portfolio. Over time, gold, it holds its value versus the stock market, which, can be volatile. And as we talked about, will be volatile. For example, let's say you're 63 and you're nearing retirement. Gold and silver is a good investment if you don't want that volatility of the stock market right now. Move to gold because it removes that volatility. Gold is generally going to hold its value. And with legacy precious metals, you're buying from a company that you can trust. Some of the things to know about us, you get to select your own investment, like coins or bars, or rolling over your existing retirement account into a precious metals IRA. We have transparency, real-time pricing on precious metals based on the precious metals market. We have very low transaction fees. You can contact our support team anytime to answer any of your questions. You can call them at 866-484-4043. You can also choose whether you want metals outside of your IRA to be delivered to you or have them stored. So the important thing to know is that we are here to answer your questions. So give Legacy Precious Metals a call, 866-484-4043. Again, that's 866-484-4043. So when you call, here's what you can expect to happen. You're going to have a conversation about your financial goals, your risk tolerance, the years you have to retirement, and we're going to take all of that and then we're going to walk you through the precious metals investment options that you have. The goal here is for everyone on my sales team to inform you with the information you need so that you can make the best possible investment decision for yourself. Again, reach out to us at 866-484-4043.
We have to take just a minute and talk about my favorite subject in this area, which is the contract with America silver coin created exclusively by Legacy Precious Metals. And as I understand it, listeners can now order the collectible coin on its own, but you have a new special offer for them. Will you describe the special offer for Newt's World listeners?
Absolutely. The contract with America coin, it's a beautiful 1 ounce silver coin. We have your magnificent image on it, Speaker Newt. It's on the front of the coin, and on the back, we have the 10 pillars of the contract, which you can see on the front of the coin as well in your hands. It's a beautiful silver coin. It's a collector's item. Anyone can order it. It's available now at legacypminvestments.com. And that's legacypminvestments.com. Or again, call us at 866-484-4043. But as of today, I have a new special offer for Newt's World listeners. If you call us and you decide to roll over your qualified IRA into a Legacy Precious Metals account, we're going to send you a new Gingrich Contract with America coin for free. And that's directly to you. So if you're a listener of the show, call us and tell our sales representative that you are listening to Newt's World. And when you do that qualified IRA rollover, we're going to get that coin out to you. You'll not only receive the tax benefits of a retirement account, but you'll also receive a free Contract with America coin as part of that IRA rollover. It's a one-of-a-kind coin. It goes up in value, and you will gain that value, not just on the silver, but on the collectability of that coin. So again, call us today, 866-484-4043. Again, 866-484-4043.
I'm particularly excited by the coin because the 30th anniversary of the contract with America is this September. We're very excited about getting a whole bunch of the members who were there when they started it and first won control for the first time in 40 years. And the coin is just perfect as a reminder of what an extraordinary historic moment the contract with America was. We went to 4 balanced budgets, welfare reform. It was a remarkable period. So I'm very excited about what you're doing and very grateful for it. Charles, I want to thank you for joining me and helping me and our listeners make sense of the current economic environment and how we can save for our retirement with a diverse portfolio that includes precious metals like gold and silver. And I want to let our listeners know, if they want more information, they can call Charles and his team at Legacy Precious Metals directly at 866-484-4043. That's 866-484-4043. Or visit Legacy online at legacypminvestments.com. Thank you again, Charles, for joining me. I think this has been a really good discussion of where we are both politically and economically.
Oh, thank you for having me. And I think so, too. I think it really portrays the importance of what's going on politically, but also economically. So again, thank you for having me.
Thank you to my guest, Charles Thorngren. You can learn more about Legacy Precious Metals at legacypminvestments.com. Newt's World is produced by Gingrich 360 and iHeartMedia. Our executive producer is Garnsey Sloan. Our researcher is Rachel Peterson. The artwork for the show was created by Steve Penley. Special thanks to the team at Gingrich 360. If you've been enjoying Newt's World, I hope you'll go to Apple Podcast and both rate us with 5 stars and give us a review so others can learn what it's all about. Right now, listeners of Newt's World can sign up for my 3 free weekly columns at gingrich360.com/newsletter. I'm Newt Gingrich. This is Newt's World. This episode of Newt's World is brought to you by Legacy Precious Metals. Hi, this is Newt. Gold has broken several record highs this year, and Legacy Precious Metals is the company I personally invest with. Together, we created the official Contract with America silver coin that commemorates our historic House victory in 1994. Supplies are limited, and this commemorative coin will sell out. Go to legacypminvestments.com or call them at 866-484-4043 to get yours today. Tell them I sent you, and they'll send you a free Contract with America coin on all qualified IRA rollovers.